Now.
Cavalry! Charge!
The war has begun, my friends. An initial salvo publicly launched by Elon Musk, now joining forces with Rumble as a platform, Chris Pavlovski announcing yesterday, as well as Truth Social, with 20 different people getting sued. This is the great pushback. Now, I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer, based on the, the validity of these lawsuits and whether or not they work. But I do know that lawsuits are extremely, there's a big penalty. It's very expensive to defend yourself. So I want to start, yes, Elon's getting all the shine, but I'm a Rumble guy, boys and girls, through and through. And so I'm going to give Rumble their credit. X is not alone. I can also confirm that Media Matters has purposely misrepresented Rumble. Their dishonesty warrants an immediate investigation at the highest levels. Hint, Speaker Johnson and Jim Jordan. And I'll bring the receipts. Here's my statement issuing this from Rumble. Leave a like on the video. Shout out Rumble for giving me a home for my daily show and giving us an opportunity for all of us to hang out for 2 hours a day, every day. It's been absolutely great. Media Matters is threatened by Rumble's mission to protect free and open internet, so their reaction is to deceive the public and scare advertisers. Well, I can tell you this unequivocally. Media Matters wrote an article about me saying that I was a 9/11 conspiracy theorist just because I watched a short 2-minute video that somebody sent me, and I said, interesting. At no point did I say, oh, it was definitely an inside job. I never said that I knew anything. I just said, oh, that's an interesting theory. Within minutes, Media Matters had concocted this article saying that I was a 9/11 truther, conspiracy theorist, and Rumble featured me on the homepage. Also in that live stream, I talked about Brie Larson's boobs. Interesting they didn't cover that part. For example, on March 14th, Media Matters claimed that advertisements for Netflix, which were appearing on Rumble, had been placed on videos that violated our content policies. However, according to Google Analytics, the week before the publication of Media Matters' article, there had been 0 page views of that video. This means that Media Matters activist who took the screenshot was the first human being to actually view the Netflix ad on the video in question, though their story left the false impression that it was a widespread problem. The same is true for most videos cited by Media Matters, all of which were removed from Rumble as soon as we were made aware of them. It's clear that Media Matters intends to mislead and deceive about advertisements on Rumble in order to hamper free speech and harm law-abiding employers who want to advertise their products and services. Now, I can tell you this, I don't get any discount on it, but coffeebrandcoffee.com, if you watch Rumble live streams, you might have seen my ads. I literally reinvest my money back into Rumble, buying ads, promoting my coffee product. Hopefully people on Rumble will convert. But, I can say, I run ads on Bongino and Crowder and anybody who goes live, I try to run ads. And you know what? Even if they say something offensive or something that I don't like, there's nothing wrong with that. Just because my ad appears there does not mean that I wholeheartedly agree with their opinions. You know what I mean? Media Matters doesn't do anything for free. So who is funding this outrageous targeting activity? Who is paying for them to target free speech? And why are they afraid of free expression online? Speaker Johnson, Representative Jordan, it's time for Congress to ask hard questions. And they show this. They show that, you know, the page views of this video had only received 1 view. And you see even Elon getting in. They have had a long track record of evil deeds. An investigation is badly needed. On top of that, Truth Social has also launched a massive lawsuit. Truth Social just filed an unprecedented defamation lawsuit incorporating 20 media companies. The tide is finally turning. Corporate media and activists are going to feel the heat. Well, it has to be, you have to do this, right? No more defense. I think Chris actually said that. No more defense, only offense. I mean, you're talking about a video that if we look at, for example, the case they made about Twitter, right? Of 50 billion impressions that day, less than 50 of them appeared on those ads, right? Less than 50 views out of 50 billion. And what's interesting is you had all of these ad companies pull out now. Apple pulls 100 million, all these. It's so weird and obvious that, at least in my opinion, that what you have here is, Apple, IBM, Walt Disney Company, all these people that are saying, oh, we're pulling ads. They actually don't care about the fact that their ad was next to a bad video. Let's be very honest. These people are not stupid. I used to run an ad agency, worked with companies like Warner Brothers and Dish Network and Charter Cable and all these huge, huge companies, okay? They paid me a lot of money to run their ads in places like YouTube and other places. And during the first adpocalypse, I made it very clear to them that, this is just, a one random ad impression on a random website. It's not, nobody actually who's your actual customer thinks that you endorse this. And they didn't care. They said, nope, turn off advertising. I won't name names, but I had customers that, gave up $100,000 in profitable advertising just because of one New York Times article that cherry picked one weird example, right? And I learned now, what I didn't know then, is that it was never actually about that. It was this kind of like silent alignment between these companies. Like, oh, Twitter's bad, so Apple's going to pull ads. Apple doesn't actually care about eating all that profit that they just walked away from. IBM doesn't care. All that stuff, they don't care. They care about the alignment, the message, DEI, and all this other crap. That's what this is about. It isn't actually about them being worried that a single ad impression from Apple appeared on some lunatic's anti-Semitic post. That's not why they're pulling ads. They're pulling ads because this is the machine activating to say, hey, we don't like Twitter because, we're not going to say it out loud, but it's, too much free speech. I think that you look at a company like Media Matters, I think one of the judges in one of these cases is a Trump-appointed lawyer too. I don't know if it's the Rumble one or the Truth Social one, but like they could bankrupt them. Today, Truth Social filed a defamation lawsuit that is likely unprecedented in history, incorporating 20 publications and even more may be added. All of them published the same false information about Truth Social and refuse to fully retract their stories. To the fake news outlets that think themselves above accountability, we'll see you in court. Here you have, Trump's Truth Social files defamation lawsuit against 20 companies. You should have The Guardian, Hollywood Reporter, Miami Herald, all these companies, Salon.com, New York Daily News, Newsweek, MSNBC, Market Watch. This is not a small list. And they want $1.5 billion. They're suing for $1.5 billion. Trump sues MSNBC, Reuters, and 18 others news organizations, claims they coordinated in misrepresenting $73 million True Social losses. Well, they did. I mean, does anybody believe that they didn't coordinate? Don't forget, by the way, while nobody's watching, Rumble is also suing Google for, antitrust reasons. Google loses bid to end Rumble's antitrust lawsuit over YouTube. Now, this is a little old. This is back from 2022, but I just want to, use this as evidence to say that, hey, Rumble is out there fighting the fight, fighting extremely hard. And I think that this is a very interesting moment. I actually hope that we see more, organizations get into this, because what you got to do is bury these companies. That's what you have to do. You can't just, these lawsuits or whatever, like, you have to bury these companies in legal fees. And you have True Social, you have Rumble getting in, you have Twitter. These are three pretty big companies that are suing. I don't know how big Media Matters is. I don't think it's, exactly some kind of mom and pop shop. It's pretty big. But like, ultimately, you get these three. I don't know who else could be. Maybe Gab could file some lawsuits. Minds.com, maybe they could file some lawsuits. I mean, think about what that's going to cost. You have Media Matters having to defend themselves against 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lawsuits at once. And there was this other thing that I wanted to talk about that I don't understand, that I wanted to talk to, fortunately, I do know a lot of lawyers. But there is an interesting angle on this that I wanted to bring up, and maybe even chat will in real time educate me. But there's something here. The Nebraska Freedom Coalition wrote, major account and influencers on X should consider submitting an amicus brief in support of X Corp for several reasons. 1, financial impact. Influencers who earn revenue through Twitter advertising might be directly affected by the actions that disrupt the platform's advertising ecosystem. Platform integrity. Influencers have vested interest in maintaining a trustworthy and stable platform, as their personal brands and outreach depend on it. Community representation. Influencers can represent these concerns and interests of a broader community. Social media affected by such disputes. And advocacy for free speech and fair business practices. The case might involve interests central to the principles of free speech and fair business practices. Like, I don't know, I'll do it, but I don't know exactly what it is. I'll say, I'm in, please help. I think that what you saw was, if you go all the way back to, I believe it was Owen Benjamin, who successfully sued Patreon, right? By getting all of his viewers, all of his Patreon backers to file individual lawsuits against, against Patreon. And they won, because they would have had to mediate individual, lawsuits, and hundreds of them. I think if people actually do that, stuff, we can win this. And you know what? I don't think Media Matters is a company that does any good. And I don't think the SPLC does any good. And I don't think the ACLU does any good. And so I think burying these companies in lawsuits, you have to have very real consequences. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But these folks absolutely have my sword.